Welcome back, troops. Let's tab 59. Hope everyone had a good bank holiday. Weather was a bit naff, wasn't it? Over here in England anyway. So, out on the training tab, you notice again I'm on my own. Quick update on that. The tracer round has got a neck injury. Bit necky. I've always said she's a bit necky. So anyway, it makes it difficult for her to train at the moment. She's doing shorter distances, but not with any weight on at the moment. So it's knocked her back a little bit, but she'll be fine. She's tough as old boots. So, about 12 days now until the challenge, our weighted walk challenge of 80 miles in 8 days, which kicks off in Skegness on the 7th of September, that's a Saturday. The exact location and time still yet to be confirmed, but we'll tell you in case anyone's in the area, they wanted to come along and give us a hard time or have a laugh with us. So, before I get into the meat of this video, which is the RAF Regiment, Royal Air Force Regiment, a word about them. So before we kick off for that and get into the meat of it, an update and a shout out about all our lovely sponsors so far. Every time I make a video now and throughout the challenge and maybe beyond, all the people that log on to our JustGiving page and donate and support us, we'll give them a shout out. I've been doing the last few videos. I'm going to do it again today, so I have to pull over here because I've got to get a bit of paper out so I can read out the names. Typhoons flying everywhere today. Right, so bear with me a minute. It's a bit windy as well. So, sponsors I want to read out today, the people that sponsor us. First one, Big John. Big John, ex-Remy Recce Mech. Now, for those of you who might not know what Remy and Recce Mech means, I'll tell you. So in the British Forces, the British Army, we've got a corps, which we abbreviated as Remy, Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers. Basically, they fix everything that we break. We're knackered about the Remy. And Big John was a Recce Mech. I've had a few dinners with Recce Mechs. They've rescued me on a number of occasions out in Germany. So what a Recce Mech is, it's not Recce as in reconnaissance, it's Recce as in recovery. Recovery mechanic. They don't necessarily fix stuff at the side of the road like the AA, but they do recover your vehicles. And that's whether the vehicle's been destroyed or it's just broken down on training exercise day to day. They recover the vehicles. They're very specialist troops. The old Recce Mechs do a great job. So, cheers, Big John. Andy White, ex-Royal Signals, Scalyback, good old Royal Signals. Very generous, Andy. Thank you very much, mate. Alistair Duke, aka Splodge. I like that, aka Splodge. How on earth did you get that nickname, Alistair? Anyway, very generous, I said thank you very much indeed. The next one hasn't got a name, it's just from an ex-member of 4-5 Commando Royal Marines. What a cracking elite unit the Royal Marines are, Royal Marine Commandos. So it just says 4-5 Royal Marine Commando, but I'm sure you know you are. Thank you very much indeed. Next one, Pete Ellinger. And he's put in there, I'm just a civvy. No, Peter, you're not just a civvy. You're supporting the armed forces, you're supporting a military charity. No one's just a civvy. Don't put yourself down, mate. What you've done is great, and we appreciate, me and the Tracer Round appreciate it very much. Just Pete Ellinger, not just a civvy. Right, the next one is a couple, I love that. Wayne and Sally Robinson. Wayne and Sally Robinson, very generous, thank you very much. Wayne, I believe you're ex-Royal Air Force and also ex-Signals, Royal Signals I'm assuming. So I don't know whether you were in the Royal Air Force, in communications, and then after you finished that service you went on to the Reserve Force for the Royal Signals, or whether you just transferred from the Royal Air Force to the Army, I don't know. But thank you very much, Wayne and Sally Robinson. Tony Shepherd. Tony, an ex-sergeant in the Milan platoon in the 6th Battalion, Royal Regiment of Fusiliers. Milan platoon, no easy job. It's a very generous donation, by the way, Tony. Thank you very much. The Milan platoon, difficult job in support company and infantry battalion. Milan, for those you don't know, is a weapon system the British Army used for anti-tank, but also for bunker busting. You could use that bad boy. I think Javelin's taking over now, isn't it? But Milan, awkward bit of kit to hump around when you dismount it all. So thank you very much, Tony. And the last one today is Jono the Bear. That's a crack. Did you get that nickname, Jono? Jono the Bear. I've got this mental image that you're as massive like a bear. Thank you very much. So that's brought our total up to 2,149 and a few pence. But if you add on to that gift aid, which is around 422, that gives us somewhere around 2,500 odd pounds. Smashed through our initial target of £1,000. So thank you very much. Those of you who don't know, me and Trace around are going to tab 80 miles in 8 days with weight in our local area between the 7th of September, Saturday the 7th, finishing hopefully on the Saturday the 14th of September when we complete the challenge. So we're doing videos daily on that. Every time we go out on one of the tabs, that each day on the 8 days, we'll make a video. Apologies for the wind, it's picked up quite a bit. So now the meat of the video after all that. Sorry, apologies. Hopefully you've not skipped through it. So the Royal Air Force Regiment. Now, in the British forces, we have British Armed Forces, all the corps, all the regiments, all the squadrons, all the batteries, we all take the mickey out of each other. We have a bit of banter, and of course, inter-service rivalries. It's all healthy stuff. It's all esprit de corps stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm sure all the veterans out there from whatever service you're in, I'm sure that you'll all agree that without each other, the whole British forces thing just wouldn't function. We all need each other. So the Royal Air Force Regiment sometimes get a bit of stick, and the Royal Air Force in general get a bit of stick, and I don't hold to that. Yeah, we'll take the mickey, but I don't hold to it. Royal Air Force have done a lot for the troop. We couldn't function without the Royal Air Force, obviously. And the RF Regiment are basically, in my mind anyway, I like to think of the RF Regiment as the infantry of the Royal Air Force. So what do they do? What do we know about them? Well, you can Google it all. But basically they were formed during the Second World War in 1942. Originally armoured car squadrons and stuff like that, and they were predominantly tasked with defending air assets, but they did other operations as well. Now the first headquarters was just up the road from here in Grantham in Lincolnshire. It's where they're headquartered initially. But there's a few firsts for the old RAF Regiment, don't knock them. They're nicknamed the Rock Apes, and the story goes there was 2 Royal Air Force Regiment officers out shooting baboons or rock apes or something, and they split up, but it's getting a bit dark, and one officer shot and wounded the other officer. And at the inquiry, part of his sort of defence statement was that he thought the other officer in the dark light was a rock ape, and so therefore they got nicknamed the Rock Apes. I believe that's the story. Put me right if I've got it wrong, I'm no historian. So formed in 42 in the Second World War, very, very good war service record. They're still from memory. Now, I'm no expert, like I say. Now, I believe they were the first British unit into Paris. So after the successful landings on D-Day, 6th of June 44, an eventual breakout and the Allies pushed forward, eventually getting to Paris, and the British forces are first in there with the RAF Regiment. Well, Rock Apes first in. They were also among the first troops to get into Brussels in Belgium, and a squadron leader from the RAF Regiment actually captured Admiral Dönitz. Now, Admiral Dönitz was Hitler's successor, so he was going to take over from Hitler if it did happen, didn't it? So Admiral Dönitz was quite an important chap, as you can imagine, and the good old RAF nabbed him. Well done, a RAF Regiment. So they've got various squadrons. I say in today's guise, their role is mainly defending the airfields. They're pretty much any airfield we have or air asset around the world, you'll find the RAF Regiment there. stagging on sometimes, but also they push out, they don't just work inside the wire of the airfield. They'll actually go outside and perimeter patrolling, pushing out away, making sure no one's coming up against them. Now, a point on that, if you think about that, if you're an enemy at war with us and you want to take out our airfields, which is obviously a very important thing to do. Yes, you can bomb the airfields. We've got the RAF Regiment there with their air defence systems to stop that happening or to counter that. But also, you know, who's going to raid those airfields on the ground? What ground forces would you send in to capture or destroy a British RAF airfield? Well, you're going to send in your special forces. We did it back in the Falklands War in '82. We needed to capture Pebble Island. There was a number of Pucara aircraft on Pebble Island down there. They could have caused havoc during the landings of ground attack aircraft. They needed to be taken out. So who did we use? The Special Air Service, of course. Special Air Service went in and destroyed and caused a lot of damage to Pebble Islands and the Argentinian air assets that were stationed there. So, if you're a RAF Regiment soldier, your enemy, if they come on the ground to attack you, it's probably going to be your foreign, you know, the enemy's special forces unit, whether that's Spetsnaz or whatever. So you're going to be up against quite a tough enemy. And the RAF Regiment are underestimated a lot. They are highly trained soldiers. That's what they are. Yes, they're airmen, but they're soldiers. Like I say, I believe they're infantry. They also have a parachute trained element. They do their own version of P Company, if you like. Now, I don't know much about that, this para selection that the RAF Regiment do, but I'm sure it's along the lines of the Army's P Company. I don't know, we could argue that. You know more about it than me. However, these soldiers, airmen if you like, that are in the parachute trained role, I believe it's number 2 Squadron is the parachute squadron for the Royal Air Force Regiment. They send troops, flights, I think it's a flight, isn't it? Like a platoon strip. They send flights down to St Athens to support the SFSG, Special Forces Support Group. And obviously down there you've got one para, which is the main bulk of the Special Forces Support Group that assists the Special Air Service, Special Boat Service, etc. And of course, within the RAF, the best people to talk to fighter pilots or ground attack aircraft are going to be the RAF themselves. They speak the same language. So they have forward air controllers. Dodgy old job that is. Normally an officer and his bod with specialist communication equipment, and they'll actually talk the aircraft on, a bit like a fire mission I suppose. So forward air controllers, very specialised trade within the RAF Regiment, and they supply those to the SFSG. And also they've got a good CBRN unit attached to SFSG as well. It's a very specialist role. CBRN, those you don't know, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear. Used to be NBC, it's now CBRN. So the RAF Regiment do that too. Also within the RAF Regiment you've got the ceremonial role. It used to be the Queen's Colour Squadron, it's now obviously the King's Colour Squadron, and they do all the ceremonial stuff, or a lot of the ceremonial stuff. And in fact, I'm going to have to read this off my little bit of paper in my back pocket because I can't remember the exact numbers, but here's another record for you. So they currently, it's the King's Colour Squadron, they currently hold a world record for completing over 2,700 foot and rifle drill movements in 23 hours and 55 minutes. Without a word of command, just set them off. Off they go. Very repetitive, I'm sure, but that's some feat, isn't it? Imagine that, doing rifle drill and foot drill for that amount of time. 23 hours, is it? 23 hours, 50 hours? That's a bit of staggering on there. So, and I think the King's Colour Squadron, 63 Squadron, I believe, and they're a field squadron themselves. So they're not just ceremonial troops. You know, a lot of people think that, but they're not. So there you go then. That was a word about the Royal Air Force Regiment, which I think are very underestimated. I think they're unsung. I think in Afghanistan, one of their guys picked up the first military cross for the RAF Regiment. So there's a milestone. So not just defensive troops, They are, that's their main role, obviously defending air assets and airfields. They're not going to do company attacks, battalion attacks like the British infantry do, but they're still in an offensive mode. They're pushing outside the wire and taking on anyone that's trying to disrupt or destroy or capture the airfield or air assets they're protecting. So all the RAF Regiment lads and veterans out there, well done. You're a good unit. A lot of you on here come up now and again sponsoring us and commenting in the comments, and I thank you for that. So that's all from me. Please, if you haven't donated, in the description of this video will be a little link to our Just Giving page. Anything, £1, 50p, anything you can stick in there will help us. We're going to push for Scotty's Little Soldiers. 12 days to go, like I say. So that's it. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please consider it. I'm not saying do it, I'm saying consider it. But please have a look at the Just Giving page and consider that too. So till the next time, troops, with another update. It won't be long. Stay safe. Keep commenting. Remember, let's tap.